Our weekend is off and running with a lot of heat and humidity. We'll track the latest round of a summer surge just ahead.
Police say their efforts to stop a stolen car led to a foot chase across a Lexington neighborhood.
More aftershocks are creating chaos for rescuers searching for survivors in the deadly earthquake in Italy. I'm Jonathan WKYT and I'm at Tree Check. I'll have the latest coming up.
This is WKYT News at 4.
Welcome to WKYT News at 4 on this Friday afternoon. I'm Jennifer Palumbo. The heat and humidity are sticking around for this last weekend of August. Here's a live look at Triangle Park in downtown Lexington. Let's check in first with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey. And Chris, some places are actually seeing a little rain right now.
Yeah, western Kentucky and far northern parts of the area getting in on a couple of scattered thunderstorms. For the rest of us, Jennifer, we are sweating it out. Temperatures this afternoon in Lexington, where you got a little more in the way of sunshine, 92 right now, but it feels like it is 96 degrees with humidity that is up there at 45%. Now you look at the rest of the thermometers across the all of central and eastern Kentucky. Well, of course, they're cooler than Bluegrass Airport. 90 into Mount Sterling, 88 into London and Danville. Jackson checking in at 88 as well. Throw the humidity into the mix, and it feels like it's into the low and mid 90s in some areas. Today, the heat index is a little lower than what we had yesterday. Look at western Kentucky, Bowling Green, 104. No thanks. Defender Radar Network, northern Kentucky, southern parts of Ohio. Watch your northern skyline. Those are some showers and thunderstorms that are drifting their way on in from north to south. Western Kentucky, showers, thunderstorms in scattered fashion. That will continue to be the trend there. What can we get locally? Future radar shows how the stuff kind of dodges us, but then later tonight, early tomorrow, we'll continue to focus on stuff coming in from the south, and that's indeed what I will do when I come back in 15 minutes. We'll focus on the heat, humidity, and an increasing threat for scattered thunderstorms.
Thank you, Chris. A police chase involving a stolen car leads to a crash and 3 arrests in Lexington today. The crash happened on Reams Road about 11 this morning. 3 juveniles were eventually found near Devonport Drive. Victor Puente has been tracking the story and has the latest in our top story at 4.
The owner of that car told me it was stolen early this morning in Scott County. It would be crashed here in Lexington a few hours later, leading to multiple arrests. The owner of this car told me it was stolen from outside their home at the Spindletop Mobile Home Park in Scott County. They didn't want to go on camera, but said the car was running when they ran back in to grab a debit card and came out to see it pulling away. Lexington police say an officer tried to pull the car over on Reams Road around 11 a.m. and the 4 people inside took off running. That led to a search across the neighborhood. They say they eventually found 3 of them near Devonport Drive. Police say all 3 arrested are juveniles. Neighbors say they tried to get into a home before police found them.
It just seemed like an episode of Cops. I mean, there were police running in the back of my building, on the side, just everywhere.
Lexington police haven't released the names of the people they took into custody. They tell us all of them were juveniles. In Lexington, Victor Puente, WKYT.
The 3 suspects are charged with receiving stolen property, fleeing and evading criminal trespass, and possession of a handgun by a minor. A man accused of murdering his daughter's boyfriend pleaded not guilty today in Rowan County. Kentucky State Police tell us they were first called Tuesday morning to a report of a man causing trouble at a home on Brown Ridge Road. They say by the time they got there, he was gone. Police say after they left, the man came back and there was another scuffle. KSP says Teddy Johnson shot 24-year-old Marvin Atkins, his daughter's boyfriend. We'll have the latest from court on WKYT News at 4:30. Bath County High School had extra security today after a threat. School officials say it was just a precaution after a threat was made on a social media website. State police say the threat involved a student who claimed he was going to take a gun to school. After talking with the student, KSP determined the threat was not real. Police say the teen will likely face charges. For the second time in a week, students at a for-profit college in Lexington are wondering about the status of their school, following a decision from the Department of Education. Wednesday, MedTech College notified students it was closing permanently. Now, students at ITT Tech in Lexington face the same concerns. This week, the Department of Education issued a notice to ITT Tech saying they're no longer allowed to enroll new students with federal aid. ITT Tech has campuses in Lexington and Louisville. We'll have the latest on the school's status and what it means for current students on WKYT News at 5. Our reporters are working on a number of other stories for WKYT starting at 4:30. Sam Dick joins us from the newsroom with a look at some more of the news in progress. Good afternoon, Sam.
Good afternoon, Jennifer. Police in Mississippi are investigating the brutal murders of 2 Catholic nuns. One of them had a Kentucky connection. Sister Paula Merrill is on the left. She was a member of the Sisters of Charity of Nazareth, which is based in Nelson County, Kentucky. She and Sister Margaret Held were working in one of the poorest counties in Mississippi when they were killed.
It's sad that people come to this, whatever motivates them. I mean, you know, my aunt and Sister Margaret, they live their lives to try to make the world better for the people who have nothing.
Police say a car belonging to the nuns was stolen. It was later found abandoned less than a mile from their home. No arrests have been made so far. We'll have an update, though, ahead on WKYT News at 4:30. Today, the last of the horses found in bad shape and abandoned on a Mercer County farm are moving to new homes. In all, 43 horses were found without food back in June. The man leasing the farm, Charles Burrell, and his daughter, a well-known horse trainer, Maria Burrell, now face charges. Many of the horses were found extremely underweight. Some volunteers, organizations, and businesses stepped in to help, making sure the horses receive the care and love they deserve.
You're going to your new place to make more friends? And Mommy promised you you'd never go through it again, didn't I?
We'll have more on where the horses are going ahead on WKYT News at 6. That's a look at some of the news in progress. Jennifer, back to you.
Thank you, Sam. Now to stories making headlines around the world at 4. The frantic search for survivors of Wednesday's earthquake in Italy continues at this hour, but strong aftershocks are threatening rescue efforts. At least 278 people are dead and many are still missing. Jonathan Vigliotti has the latest from Amatrice, Italy.
Rescuers are desperately searching for more survivors of Wednesday's earthquake, but they are dealing with strong aftershocks that are complicating efforts. Amatrice is one of the hardest hit areas. Crews are surveying the damage to historic buildings, and they are trying to clear the roads.
When the earthquake hit, homes literally fell like a house of cards. In this neighborhood alone, 22 people were killed.
Volunteers are setting up temporary housing and handing out food and clothing to people who have lost everything. Police pulled Pietro Tarli from the rubble of his home shortly after the quake struck. It was almost like the Almighty said to me, "You must go on living," the 71-year-old said from his hospital bed. The first funerals are underway. Grieving relatives are crowding this makeshift funeral home where coffins are laid out in rows. The chance of finding more people alive under the rubble diminishes with each passing hour. Still, rescuers are hoping for a miracle. Jonathan Vigliotti, CBS News, Amatrice, Italy.
The magnitude 6.2 quake struck at 3:36 Wednesday morning, and aftershocks continue to rock the area. American swimmer Ryan Lochte now faces charges in Brazil for filing a false report during the Rio Olympics. Lochte claimed he and 3 other American swimmers were robbed at gunpoint by men posing as police. But Brazilian authorities say security video shows the 4 got into a fight with security guards after vandalizing a gas station restroom. Lochte later admitted he was drunk at the time and exaggerated his story. Under Brazilian law, falsely filing a crime report can carry up to 18 months in prison. While several major sponsors dropped Lochte over the controversy, he has signed a new deal with Pine Brothers Throat Drops. It's National Dog Day, but do you know how much a year of care for the little guys costs? We'll have the answer and some money-saving tips coming up next on WKYT News at 4. And you can't buy a car on Amazon, but you can research one. Details next.
Keep up with the latest news on WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
Stocks closing mixed today on news. The Federal Reserve appears to be moving closer to raising interest rates. That tops today's WKYT Money Watch. Fed Chair Janet Yellen is addressing the annual meeting of central bankers in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Some economists say the rate hike could come as early as next month, and Fed leaders have used Jackson Hole in the past to announce major policy shifts. Volkswagen has agreed to compensate hundreds of U.S. dealers for cars on their lots that turned out to be rigged to cheat emissions tests. VW says the $1.2 billion payout to 652 dealers will cover all past, current, and future claims of loss by franchisors. The German automaker has been hit with several lawsuits and legal probes since it was revealed that millions of diesel Volkswagen cars worldwide had been fixed to beat emissions tests. Amazon is getting into the car business. The online retailer unveiled a new search engine on its website that allows customers to comparison shop for vehicles, parts, and accessories. You can also buy parts and accessories on Amazon, but the company is not selling cars, at least not yet. Today is National Dog Day, and the price of a pet can be high. It's estimated you'll spend more than $1,000 on your dog just in the first year. Brooke Silva Braga found some dog owners who spend even more on their best friends.
Haven Rowland doesn't mind spoiling her dog Caddy.
His chicken.
There's the box full of toys.
Nail clippers, eye wash, a brush.
And the cabinet filled with items for her pet.
I think I'd be afraid to know what we actually spend on him each month.
The ASPCA ran the numbers and says it can cost up to $875 a year to take care of a dog. That includes food, toys, treats, and health insurance. The first year is even costlier, with expenses like vaccinations and spaying or neutering. Some owners spend even more.
I would say 90% of our Amazon packages are for the dog.
The ASPCA says the best way to cut costs is with preventive care, regular checkups, good quality food, doggy toothbrushing. You can also trim the vet bill by only getting the vaccines your specific dog needs.
Hey, Dante.
Veterinarian Kristen Frank says adopting a dog from a shelter also saves money.
Any cat or dog adopted from a shelter will already be spayed and neutered. They will have most, if not all, of their vaccines already given to them.
For Claudia Valencia, even if caring for her dog Chiquita is expensive, what she gets in return is priceless.
So much unconditional love and company, that is worth it.
Brooke Silva Braga for CBS News, New York.
All kinds of deals, food, and fun. I'm Deanne Stevens preparing for the Chevy Chase Street Fair today.
Weekend off and running on a steamy note across the Bluegrass State. Up next, we'll talk about the additional rounds of steam over the next several days as we're stuck in a very heart of summer-like pattern. Forecast in a moment. Stay here.
Your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Happy Friday, everyone. We've made it to the end of the week. Weekend staring at us right in the face, and then all of a sudden you walk outside and the heat hits you in the face as well. Throw the humidity into the mix, it feels a little hotter than what it actually is. A lot of upper 80s to low 90s showing up right now across most of central and eastern Kentucky. And that's what we're going to be dealing with as we go not only through the rest of the afternoon, but into our Saturday and our Sunday, and oh heck, we may just keep it rolling into the first part of next week. Current heat index temperatures generally low to mid 90s. We're running just a little cooler with that heat index compared to this same point 24 hours ago. Defender Radar Network, can we get a little heat-busting shower thunderstorm? Well, I've got a little bit here in the northeastern Kentucky into parts of Greenup County, but the majority of the action is off to our west into western parts of Tennessee, western Kentucky, parts of Indiana, Illinois. That's a nice little plume of moisture that continues to basically engulf parts of the Mississippi Valley. Front is out there. It isn't a big, strong push of cooler air coming in behind it. That front's never going to really clear the area. It gets close enough, though, to touch off a scattered shower or thunderstorm with the hazy, hot, and humid weather that's out there. If you're heading to a high school football game this evening, most areas are going to be dry. 86 at kickoff. It's going to feel like it's in the low 90s at kickoff. It does get a little better. By halftime, it's only low 80s and feeling like 90. And then by the fourth quarter, rolling around upper 70s to around 80, very muggy, tropical, but again, most areas stay dry. Here's that heat index forecast as we go through the evening. It does drop fairly quickly as the sun sets. It's going to be into the mid and upper 70s late tonight. Again, heat index, not the actual temperature. Tomorrow's the day that I think a triple-digit heat index is a good possibility across central and eastern Kentucky. Through 4 o'clock Saturday afternoon, look at that. Pushing 100 degrees for a heat index. Let's go through Saturday evening. Thermometers drop, so the heat index comes down. Cue the heat again on Sunday. 95 to 100 degrees for a heat index on both Saturday and our Sunday. 3-day threat track, all 3 days very similar. However, we get into Sunday and Monday, there's a little better shot for a shower or thunderstorm during that time. And the hour-by-hour forecast shows that pretty well. Through the evening, most areas stay dry. That continues into early tomorrow. We go into your Saturday afternoon. Most areas stay dry, but you do notice now a little better coverage of at least some scattered greens, indicative of a shower or thunderstorm across the region. Tomorrow evening, that stuff begins to dissipate. We go into Sunday, even better coverage developing into the afternoon. So if we are to get a little downpour with a stronger thunderstorm, Sunday has the best shot of the next 3 or 4 days. We are ready to flip the calendar from August to September, and the pattern just does not want to flip from summer to anything remotely like fall. We're going to stay steamy, say that one 3 times, all the way into the middle and end of next week. Let's check on traffic on a busy Friday. Here's Officer Don.
Working a total of about 4 collisions right now, including one outbound Versailles just before the Circle, and there's a crash downtown. This one is at Red Mile and South Broadway. It has the left turn lane of Red Mile blocked just before South Broadway, affecting traffic there. To Nicholasville, about 21 minutes. To Georgetown, 14, and Richmond still holding at 24 across the Clays Ferry Bridge. Now back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Officer Don. There's a street party in Lexington tomorrow with food, fun, music, and shopping. Deanne Stevens is out and about to tell us about the Chevy Chase Street Fair. Hi, Deanne.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. We are here in Chevy Chase, where tomorrow it's the Chevy Chase Street Fair. This is such a fun event for the entire family. I understand this guy here is like the mayor of Chevy Chase. Can I give you that title, Bill Farmer?
It's been conferred a couple of times and in different circumstances, but thank you.
Mayor Farmer. I like that.
It's good out here.
Bill Farmer is with us. And Bill, you guys have a ton of fun in putting this together. How many years have you been doing this now?
This is our 5th or 6th year using the weekend after the Woodland Arts Fair. So it's become our weekend, and it has a tremendous following. People are here. They love to come down.
This is such a really unique community here in Lexington. It's fun for the entire neighborhood. We just had a lady walk by in a stroller. She's like, hey, Bill. I mean, everybody's talking. That's kind of what it's going to be like tomorrow.
It's huge because people, they bring their kids, they bring their dogs. We have people on the street selling things, food, vendors, merchandise vendors. We have a DJ, then we have bands, and we go till 10 o'clock. And you give people a chance to stand in the middle of the road and drink a beer, they'll do it every time.
I like it. So it's 4 until 10 o'clock. When you mentioned merchandise, you brought some beautiful merchandise.
You know, you're not having fun at the street fair unless it's at least half off. So we start there and go on down. I know other people do similar things too, but we have a lot of fun.
Lots of deals. There's also new places like J. Galt Eyewear. Gina is with us. You guys, welcome to the community.
Hi, thank you. We're the new kids on the block, and we're so excited to be here. So yeah, J. Galt Eyewear. We specialize in handcrafted, unique frames from all over the world. So a lot of artists that you can come and see.
And it's part of all a part of the street fair. And Jackie with CC Prep, you guys have beautiful items too.
Yes, we're so excited. Actually, this is the first time that we're doing 40% off our entire store. Wow. So everything in the store is going to be on sale for that day. We're ready to have a lot of fun.
Deals, food, and fun. It's all a part of the Chevy Chase Street Fair happening tomorrow from 4 until 10 o'clock. He's handing me a beer. I'm on the job. Which means I got to do my job, right? You're going to have to open it for me. I'm Deanne Stevens, out and about in Chevy Chase. Come be a part of the fun tomorrow. We'll have more coming up. I don't even drink beer at 4:50. Back to you guys.
It's going to be a fun time tomorrow at Chevy Chase. Yes, she did. Thanks, Deanne. Well, it's a popular trend with teenagers, but a new study finds e-cigarettes may not be about the nicotine. Find out why more teens are vaping next in Better Living. Tonight's Mega Millions jackpot is $76 million, and tomorrow's Powerball jackpot is $142 million. Time for Better Living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is calling for urgent action. The CDC is calling for people to help stop the threat of synthetic opioids. From 2013 to 2014, 8 states reported sharp increases in deaths from overdoses. The CDC blames the increased production of fentanyl, which is often mixed with heroin for a more potent high. A new technique could increase a woman's chances for successful in vitro fertilization. Researchers in Australia are testing advanced digital imaging to identify the most viable embryos for a healthy pregnancy. The technique can reveal important differences in embryos that would have otherwise looked identical. A new study finds teenagers who vape electronic cigarettes are often doing it for the flavor instead of the nicotine. A national survey quizzed about 15,000 adolescents. Among those who had tried e-cigarettes, about 2/3 said they only vaped for the flavoring. Now let's head over to Chris, and we just did a Facebook Live during your weather, and a lot of people were asking, is this going to be a good weekend for the lake? It sounds like it with this heat.
Yeah, your lake, your favorite watering hole, your favorite pond, your cement pond, whatever you want to do, as long as you can stay cool. Watch for a scattered thunderstorm to go up, though, especially if you're going to be out onto the open waters of a lake this weekend. Better chance for that on Sunday. Right now, give me the lake, give me the pond, whatever. Upper 80s, low 90s across all of central and eastern Kentucky. We've got the mix of sun and some clouds, a little more sun today than clouds into the eastern part of the state. Clouds a little more prominent to the west, and some big thunderstorms are actually not that far away from us right now. Been watching a little bit of isolated stuff here in northern Kentucky. That'll be the trend as we go through the evening. Heading out to a high school football game this evening. What you see and feel, folks, is what you're going to be getting. Those kickoff times, roughly 7:30 for a lot of the games. It'll be into the mid and upper 80s for actual temperatures, still feeling the part of some low 90s. WKYT News at 4:30 starts right now.